Ajay. Nicola, how does it feel? Congratulations once again.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much.
Congrats.
Thank you very much.
How does it feel to have a visa granted?
Uh,
Overwhelming, right?
Overwhelming, it is life changing actually, because as I told you, like it's been for 3 years. So you go through a lot of ups and downs. Will it come? Will it happen? Will it come? Will it happen? And sometimes there's negativity. Then there's bouts of positivity, like okay, there's future. And then it's very surreal. Then when it actually does happen, and you get that call and you get that email that your visa's been granted, and it's amazing.
Amazing.
It's an amazing
Good,
feeling.
good, very
Overwhelming
exciting.
is the, I think, best way to describe it at the moment, but excitement is
Still sinking in. I
still
think,
sinking
little
in.
bit.
But excitement is like right around the corner. I'm sure it's.
Why did you choose Australia over other countries?
I have quite a few family members in Australia,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, since we got married, that's the only place that's been on our list really for migration.
Yeah, for few reasons. Like one also is the weather, because there are obviously other options. Obviously, then people will talk about Canada and Europe and all these, but they tend to be a little bit colder, and we're more used to that
Yeah,
climate.
it's cold and colder.
Yeah, so Australia was winning points on the weather point of view. Then we even like the way it's run. We like the sort of stability. We like the. It is difficult actually to get the Australian visa, but also that's a good thing, because then it's worth it, and they're very selective, and it's like a plus in that way.
Correct.
So that was one of the
Absolutely.
reasons. So everyone said Australia is difficult,
Mhm.
but if you get in, that's it.
That's it. It's like for the rest of the countries, it's really very
Yeah.
good.
And we have like her family, her aunt who we're very close to. So she also went from Sri Lanka directly to Melbourne,
Mhm.
and they fell in love with the place. And hearing those stories also really put that seed was planted in our minds, and we said, what, this sounds like a really great place. And I'm Indian and she's Sri Lankan. The thing is, and I'm born and brought up in UAE. So I've never lived in India, and she's been in UAE since she's 10 years old. So we don't want to really go back to our own countries, and because her being Sri Lankan, I'm Indian, we'll have to pick and choose where we go. So we said, let's start somewhere together.
Very
Go somewhere together. So
nice.
Make
Australia
some place
became
up.
the easiest decision.
Very good.
to pick.
Why choose FBP International?
It was through a recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
My sister and my brother-in-law had started the process not 3 years ago, quite some time back, and then they had stopped and then restarted when we again started. So at the time we were looking at we met with several other agents in the UAE, and we took some counsel from people, like respected people in our lives, and all, like what do they say and all. So something was very appealing about the. It's like someone has even told us, if you go to these big agencies, it's all big promises, but they, a lot of things are like not reality with them. Just because they're the biggest and brightest doesn't mean they're the most successful. So someone had told us, you need to find these very niche type, like boutique type of migration agents who do this,
Very good.
and then we heard, like through my sister, she's like, we do this FPP, we have heard of them. There's this lady, really nice lady named Janine, and then we met even with Diana. I mean, she told us from her point of view, and she's like, why don't I tell them, because even they were thinking about it. So we'll restart our application and we'll ask them to contact you. So then when I think I had not spoken to Jane, I spoke to Diana, and she really explained the full process to us.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nice, because she said no. Because my first question, I think I must have asked her, then, like, do you do other places? She's like, no, Australia.
Okay.
And I
very
said, I like that is because then if you only do one thing, if you're specializing, maybe you may not get a lot of clients, but you know what you're doing.
correct.
And that was very important, because even before starting, as I said, they said Australia is difficult, so it's good to know people who know what they're doing.
Absolutely.
So this is one of the reasons we
To
chose
give you a head
FPP.
start, Ms. Ginny Elizabeth was the Supreme Court lawyer of South Australia. Now we have upgraded ourselves to High Court lawyer of Australia.
Wow,
Yes.
amazing. No, she was right. We met her once when we had come for. I had to get a statutory declaration made, so she
Mhm.
had come in person to do it at that time.
Okay.
So we met with her, and it was very comfortable with her.
Very grounded
And she's despite we heard of her qualifications, long list, but she was so ready to explain every little detail. My sister said you can you may think it's a silly question, but she'll answer it with that same enthusiasm as if she would any other question.
Absolutely.
That was something very good. And
Yeah.
even when speaking initially, it doesn't how should I use the correct word, it does it's quite anxious doing the process. Anxiety is inevitable, I feel. A lot of questions, especially for me to uproot and do. So initially to talk to Diana and ask whatever 2 million questions at the time, it felt like, but to get answers and all.
What were the major concerns for your journey? And
think-
how did we resolve it?
uh, it's like I don't know, it's could be taken both ways, but finance was actually the biggest concern for us. Because again, I met other agents who told us we can do it in this much price, that much price. They don't really give you the whole ballpark. And when we met with Diana also, she just told us, she didn't tell us, which obviously can't give an actual figure, because at that time things were a little volatile also with the whole Australian thing, and the new requirement for the ROI became something new. And so she said there's one additional step now they've added. So she said we can't really give you a round figure. It can be expensive, especially if you're taking, and if you're going through an agent, certification fees are there, and different things. And I also wanted to do a statutory declaration because I didn't want to go directly through my office because of I had some personal reasons. So it was expensive. But the thing is, the perspective they gave was interesting, because if you look at it as a cost, it may discourage you.
Mhm.
But I think Diana told me to look at it as an investment.
Absolutely.
And that that a roundabout way she told me it's for your future, and then I started to let it marinate in my mind. And I said, what I told her, at that time we'd get frustrated oh, how are we going to make it? But then we just said, what, it's for our future, it's an investment, and then one day when it comes, all of it will just melt away.
And today is the
And
day.
it's just true today as I thought it would be years ago.
Yeah.
And other things would be even doing things like the skills assessment and all, because see, to be frank, it is possible to do it without an agent. People are doing it, but it can be very overwhelming. And I've heard some very scary stories of people make the slightest mistakes and get things rejected, and then you have to wait, and then it's always a negative against you. Oh, you got rejected last time, why? So to have someone, guy FPP literally took everything upon themselves and did it for us. So that's what we really appreciate. And to do their work, they said we take on cases that we are sure it will get through, and hence they took on mine, and here I am today.
Oh, wonderful. That's a wonderful story from both of you all. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Thank you
And
so much.
one last question. Would you recommend FBP International to your friends and family?
Yeah, definitely we would recommend. We had a good process with them. So
Because it needs someone who knows what they are doing.
Super.
And I believe FPP do know what they're doing, because when you have lawyers like Janine and all who know it so well, the process and everything, we are so comfortable.
Wonderful, Mr. Ajay. Thank you so very much.
Uh,
Thank you.
thank you.